welcome two of our fantastic sponsors, Williamsburg Contractor and Shenco Custom Diecast. Their support has been instrumental in the growth of the Outcast Racing League, and we're thrilled to have them with us. So, without further ado, let's dive in and meet our guest, Aaron Beavers from Williamsburg Contracting and Colton Manick from Shenco Custom Diecast. Welcome, guys.
Welcome.
How's it going, guys?
Thank you.
Um, Aaron, can you tell us a little bit about Williamsburg Contracting real quick?
Yeah, Williamsburg Contracting, we're the Tidewater Peninsula of Virginia's leading concrete masonry residential contractor. We service areas from Richmond all the way east down to Virginia Beach and kind of everywhere in between. So anything concrete or masonry, we can handle it for you if you're in our area.
And Colton, how about a little bit about Shenco Custom Diecast or the products you offer?
Yeah, man. So it started off as just wanted to create some cars that some of my favorite drivers ran, and oddly enough, it was I always wanted some Matt DiBenedetto diecast, and that's the craziest thing is they didn't produce a whole lot back then. So I started making a bunch of his and Kevin Harvick's diecast, and then from there, just grew into what it is today. And really, I just focus on anything NASCAR related, really, as a specialty. And then iRacing, I've just recently got into that over the last several months, and here I am.
Sweet. So, Aaron, Williamsburg Contractor, y'all sponsor some NASCAR or Xfinity or trucks. What leagues do you, or what series do you sponsor in?
So we sponsor pretty much in any form of racing, all the way up to your touring series in NASCAR. And as a matter of fact, we have a special guest with us today, driver of the number 38 Viking Motorsports Williamsburg Contracting Ford, Matt DiBenedetto.
Oh, welcome, Matt.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me pop on here.
We're excited to have you here for sure. Let's see. Man, I know you've run in all three of the top series here, the Truck Series, Xfinity, and the Cup Series. Which is your favorite to drive, honestly?
Oh man, that's a good question. I'm not just saying it because it's the current series that I'm driving in, but truly, honestly, it's the Xfinity series mostly because of the cars. Well, I'll give you a few reasons, but I have been blessed to drive in all three series, and I did get to drive the Gen 6 Cup cars, so they were super cool. They had my favorite era of those was 20, I think it was 17 and 18 when we had the low downforce on them, and we had all the horsepower. We were, sliding around out of the gas, and they were a blast to drive. At Michigan, I think we were entering the corner at 2:18 and qualifying, so that was fun.
I'd be shaking.
It was a blast. They were so fun. So that was probably one of my favorite times of racing was as far as was that. But currently, of all the three series, I definitely prefer the Xfinity series because the cars have significantly less downforce and grip than the trucks or the Cup cars. We have good horsepower, and as a driver, we like that. It puts it a little more on the other's hands. We like being out of the throttle, sliding around. The cars are not as crazy aero sensitive as a Cup car or a truck, so we can get close to people, pack air on their left rear, even at 1.5 miles and stuff. You can drive through the field better. It just makes the racing better. So long-winded answer of the Xfinity cars are awesome.
So another question for you, Matt. How much time weekly do y'all spend on simulators to prepare for the upcoming race?
Yeah, this year, as our Viking Motorsports team is technically a new team. We're an alliance with Ryan Sieg Racing. So we do get to operate out of their race shop. They help us field our car and our team, but we are our own team. So kind of complicated, but we're so technically we're a new team, and so we don't have like a big alliance or anything of that nature for our Viking Motorsports team yet. So I don't get any simulator time this year. This is the first time in a lot of years I haven't been able to utilize the simulator. But in years past, and obviously we're growing, this team, and I'm excited for 2025 stuff, which we should have down here soon and be able to kind of fill people in on more soon as we're growing this program. And they're an awesome team, wonderful team owners. Don and Suzanne, the owners of the team, are fantastic people. But kind of getting back to the simulator stuff, in years past, it's been a lot. So the most I ever ran the simulator was in 2019 when I was driving for Levine Family Racing in the 95 when we switched over to Toyota. I did a whole simulator work. I was there every week for about like a 5-hour shift. I can't remember. I think it was on like Tuesday mornings at like very bright and early, waking up at 5 a.m. and then be heading to the simulator every week, every morning for a long stint. I would be in it for a long time. And I'll tell you, 5 hours straight in the simulator, it's kind of hard. Like I had to learn to discipline myself to pop out and just go get some fresh air and see the sun and kind of just walk around a little bit and then get back in, because it'll sneak up on you before you know it, and you'll feel kind of like you have vertigo, or it's easy to get kind of a little sick or disoriented from if you're stuck in there for that long. But I ran it a lot then, and it, when I was driving for the Wood Brothers, ran it pretty consistently as well. Maybe it wasn't maybe necessarily every single week, but maybe every other week, and very frequently for a lot of upcoming races. So it's a very neat tool that's came a long way over the years.
So those simulators aren't the exact same as iRacing, right?
Yeah, they're their own, pretty much their own animal. It's cool. So each one, I've gotten to drive the Chevy, Toyota, and Ford one. They're all similar but different. They have their differences, but all of them are in like a big giant room with a humongous wrap-around screen, and you're sitting in the cockpit of a race car, and it's on this big giant platform with all these actuators. It's very I don't know the cost of it, but I know it's definitely an expensive setup with a lot of money and a lot of engineering put into them, and it's really neat to see.
I've seen some of the drivers' iRacing setups, and I was like, that's got to be what they use to practice in, but evidently not. Like, because I didn't get into the iRacing until COVID, when we were watching all you guys race on iRacing, right? I knew it existed, but didn't know how to get into it until watching it.
During the COVID era is kind of when it really hit off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, iRacing exploded then, man. That was cool and creative, and that was pretty fun.
Aaron, how was you able to get your sponsorship out and get lucky with having Matt to run your sponsor?
So the first race that I sponsored with him was a small associate sponsorship in Richmond. I think it was 2 years ago. It was when he was running the 25 truck, 2.5 years ago, maybe. I actually just reached out to found out who was running his socials, and just reached out to them and said, hey, I'm local to Richmond, and I've followed Matt since he came into the sport in 2009, and I would love to be a part in some ways. Started back in Richmond, and I think that was spring of 2 years ago, with just a little kind of dinner plate sized logo right behind the rear wheel of the truck, and from there on, we met actually officially met Matt then, and then developed a friendship with him, and it sort of evolved into where it is now, where this past spring for his return to racing, I was the co-primary on the car and at Richmond, and had an awesome finish, and here we are. So it's been about 2.5 years in the making, but just grinding on it, and things happen.
So, almost the same question here for you, Colton. How did you meet Aaron? Because I know when Aaron, like you and Aaron, are like best friends now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what year it was, but I guess I started with the Shenco custom diecast, and kind of to go back into that a little bit. So we, I just started off making stuff, like I said, for my own personal collection, and I wasn't even managing my Facebook page at all. It was actually a friend of mine. I didn't have Facebook at the time, and so he started my Facebook page, and then we just had person after person would request and want pictures and whatnot. And then it went from just my personal collection to making them for people. And I believe about that same time frame, that's when Aaron found us. And man, the one thing I did back then that I do differently now is I was taking in so many orders, where I made one year as close to like it's over 360 die cast in one year, and that of course was during COVID. A lot of people got into iRacing. I got into custom die casting, and so back then, yeah, Aaron and I were always in contact, and of course we had the mutual like and being a fan of Matt's. And so we he wanted something done, and unfortunately I wasn't able to get him anything until gosh, it was actually pretty recently, within probably like the last year and a half maybe, that I actually finally got to make him something. And then yeah, so I mean really through that we became friends, and then just really it's just stuck together. And like I said, I don't think you know I definitely humbly say, like, I don't think I would ever be, having the recognition and stuff like that we have as a brand if it wasn't for Aaron. Because he's helped us out and got us on a lot of cars along the past couple seasons, and helped me to be able to design an ARCA car, which was really really cool. And then just the connections that he's been able to link me up with has just been so surreal and amazing just to be a part of.
Yeah, I remember when you first started getting put on those cars. Like you had just started racing with us, I think, and
Yeah.
just to watch Shenko like explode almost, you know what I mean? It's exciting from a viewer's point, like because I don't I've tried doing a diecast and it looks like a 3-year-old did it, and
Is that like your
it,
Jeep you're building back there?
it's still sitting on a shelf back here that in a box that I don't ever want to open again because I've got some of your customs and they're beautiful.
Well, I appreciate it. It's definitely, it didn't come without a lot of headache, that's for sure. Aaron's got a couple of mine, and I'm like, oh, there's a flaw here, there's this, there's that, and I always am, going over everything that I do, and just really meticulous and kind of like a perfectionist, and it almost hurts me at a time because, it's definitely like it's a form of art, and it's super hard to accomplish. And I can't even tell you how many that I would get all the way done, and I'd be like the clear coat phase, or I'd be putting them back together, and glue would end up here, or I'd wrinkle up one because of clear coat, putting something on there too heavy. And it's I don't know, I've been doing this like 5 6 years now, and now finally got to a point where I'm comfortable doing clear coat all the time. So yeah, it's definitely a
Yeah, your
challenge.
work is amazing though, and
Yeah, right back here, you can see is a 32 that Matt wore this suit and drove that car. That
Yeah.
diecast
Oh,
was
wow.
better commercially produced stuff. So yeah, he's the best around.
I appreciate it.
That's awesome.
um,
Uh, Matt, what has been one of the most memorable moments of your racing career so far?
Oh man, that's a good question. That's that's a lot to recap. I would say, you know, it would probably have to go with a lot of people would guess this answer, but you know, Bristol Motor Speedway seemed to recap some pretty
Oh,
powerful moments and memories. So starting back with 2016, I believe it was. I think it was. I can't remember if it was 15 or 16, but I was driving for BK Racing, and we went there and I ended up finishing sixth. You know, and that car, that was the team's. I was and is the team's best finish in their existence. So a sixth place finish, you know, for that team was absolutely like a win.
win.
That was
Yep.
yeah, that was a huge day. I mean, shoot, if we finished top 20, you know, that's you're beating like a lot of teams on significantly higher budget and more resources and all that. So we were just a small team making it happen, and so that was a really rewarding one. So that was a pivotal day, I would say, in my career, where it was, you know, really showed like, oh wow, you know, this guy on this team can get it done, and you know, um, and then we really just carried on and continued to take, you know, build that 83 team, and we were just known for straight up overachieving week in and week out nonstop. So that was very important. And then of course the 2019 Bristol race with the 95 team with Levine Family Racing, when you know, we had that thing in the bag, and then when we were trying to lap Ryan Newman, you know, we all know how difficult Ryan Newman is to pass, let alone trying to lap him, let alone also him knowing that if we won that race, it would have knocked him out of the playoffs and bumped us in. So all those things thrown into a blender combined with Newman cost us the win for sure. Because I was, you know, I mean, honestly, we definitely had that race in the bag. That car was so fast all weekend. It was crazy good. And I remember in the race, it was like, it was good all race and we were running top 5, but it just was a little bit loose and didn't quite have the feel that I needed. We were getting a little better, but then on the last pit stop, my crew chief, Mike Wheeler, we call him Wheels. He was Denny Hamlin's crew chief before he came over to us, but he, like, I believe he put if I remember right, I think he put like 2 rounds of wedge free, or like we took a pretty big stab at it finally, just of like, we got to snug this thing up. And man, got a little wedge in it, got it tightened up, that grip and security and that feel that I needed, and we took off and drove straight to the lead and drove away like the rest of the field was in reverse.
Wow.
That thing was so fast. And then I was just kind of leading the race and on cruise control, just hitting my marks. And then we caught, you know, Newman. And when I was getting to his outside, he squeezed me. And I'd gotten there once, and he kind of squeezed me, and I got there again, and he squeezed me, and it put a hole in the nose, and it caved in my left front, you know, part of my bumper, and the car immediately went to junk. It just went super tight, and I lost all the handling. It went terrible. You know, and so that obviously cost us the race and the win and everything. But on the other side of that, you know, I was just so bummed and disappointed and everything. But the blessing out of it was that it, you know, was a pivotal moment in my career, and really kind of propelled the next steps, got me, you know, to be able to drive for the Wood Brothers for 2 years, the next 2 years, which was, you know, incredible. And so those 2 were probably some of the standouts. There's many more, you know, a lot of other different ones I could point out, but those were, you know, I mean, leading at Talladega on the white flag a couple times in Cup and being right there. And, you know, we've had, I mean, I finished second at Vegas twice in Cup. We've had I think it reminds me of like Chase Elliott early in his career, right before he won a race. You know, he had all these so close second place finishes, and you knew he's gonna win. But I could pick out 5 Cup races that we easily could have won and were in position to win, and none of them kind of fell our way. And it's, you know, been interesting. But either way, it's all happened the way it's supposed to, and been an interesting ride.
yeah. I specifically remember that Bristol race because Hamlin was my driver, right? But I was rooting for you because it's like an underdog story, right? You've got a underfunded team, the 95 team, and I was like, don't pass him. And I remember watching the post race interview where he was like, oh, I feel bad for Matt. If you feel bad for him, you should have just let him win. But it doesn't work like that. And I know that, but it's easy to say from
Yep,
my couch,
exactly.
right? And then I was in Daytona for the 500 one year when you were leading quite a few laps, and this was also in the 95 car, and you got taken out in turn 4 or turn 3 going into 3, and I was so upset for you there too.
Yeah, that car was really fast. We led the most laps in the Daytona 500 in 2019, and we really controlled a majority of that race till we got wiped out there at the end. But yeah, we've had a lot of speed, had a lot of good runs, a lot of top fives in that thing, and top tens, like a lot of top tens in Cup, and had a lot of good runs. Just obviously stinks to not have the trophy and to be so close that many times. But it is what it is, and that timing will be what it is. And now I feel like I'm kind of on it's a different path, since going back to the truck series and kind of having to, I don't know, restart. I feel like and reset and going back to trucks after a successful career of always every team I've gone to, stats have significantly improved. There's not been one that I haven't gone to where everything has drastically gotten better. And I mean that humbly. It's just, and then all of a sudden kind of, had to re-baseline, go back to trucks. And I've learned a lot, made my fair share of mistakes, as we all have, and ups and downs, and learned so much. And I'm thankful for kind of who it's me and shaped me into be, present day today. I wouldn't change any of it, but now I feel like I kind of went to the truck series, and we made the most of deal, and this opportunity with a new and growing team is awesome, and I'm thankful to be a part of it and part of the Viking Motorsports team growth, because the owners are the most wonderful people. They've been in the sport. They can relate with Aaron. They've been they came in as a small sponsor, and just loved the sport, fell in love with it, and they're just all in. And they own the company SciAps. So they've been in as a sponsor, decided they want to be an owner, and so now we're kind of growing this team, and I'm excited for the on in the future, and I'd like to get to where we're collecting some Xfinity Series trophies, and I want to hit victory lane. I'm thankful for where I'm at, but we're always wanting more and wanting to grow and wanting to be in a position to get those wins.
So moving to Colton here, can you share some stories, if you have any, about collaborating with drivers and teams for special diecast that you do? Like, how many drivers have you specifically made diecast for?
Yeah, so I think the guy who reached out to me the very first time, I believe that one was Corey LaJoy. It's Corey LaJoy and Joey right about the same time. Corey, I did something for his what was it, like Samaritan's Feet, or whatever it was that he was running, or he did that thing. I think it was Watkins Glen, where he was doing the I don't know, awareness for that. And what he did was I made him, I think it was like 10 die cast, and he ended up putting those up for the charity. So that was a pretty cool kind of first experience with it. And then like I said, Joey Gase, that one was really special. I had a guy who actually bought a custom from me, and he sent it to Joey for to get him to autograph it. And when he did, Joey really liked it, said, "Who did this?" Wanted to get in contact with me, so we exchanged information, and then from there, really with his stuff, I think of all of the diecasts that I've ever produced. I think his stuff is by far the most meaningful, because it's connected me to so many different people and so many different stories through the donor network. and I've been able to work with a lot of the families of the donor honorees on his cars, and just really getting to know some of those people and some of their stories, touching, and especially when it comes to some of the kids. Like I just did an order earlier this year that was for a child who was on one of his cars, a 20 car order. So to do that was super special. And all of that comes from Joey. He gets everybody and information and forwards it either to myself or takes mine and gives it to them. So that's been really cool. I actually, when Matt was running for the Wood Brothers, I got to know John Wood pretty well and some of those guys there. And I think one of the coolest pieces that I made was John Wood's Air Force truck, and that's actually sitting in the museum. So I thought that was pretty neat, and still to this day, I find it, with the history of that team and where it's been, I just think it's cool to know that one of my cars, hopefully when I'm gone, is still going to be there at the Wood Brothers Museum, and it's going to be sitting there. So to me, that was a really cool opportunity to do that for John as well. So and then obviously with Aaron, we've, while he's a sponsor, not a driver, we've got the had the opportunity with him just to really create some super unique pieces. And then with Ryan Vargas with the truck last year, that was really cool. And that was one of the first ones that I was part of, really, where we had to start from scratch. So I had to get the art files and figure out how I was going to go through getting art files, getting decals made, doing all that stuff. And that project, that was a super memorable one, and one that I'll always appreciate from start to finish with that. And then just making those trucks is just, like I said, super cool. And then Ryan has some of them, and I've made a couple for him as well. So
Now you've
I think that's
also you designed a paint scheme for Aaron, didn't you? For one of the races?
Yeah, that was the ARCA one earlier this year at Kansas,
Wow.
which was pretty cool. And that one was actually inspired by one of my cars that I ran at, what was it? I think it was the first year that we ran the next gen cars at an ORL. I had a multicolor brick one, black with like a lime green on it. And yeah, it was inspired by that car. Showed it to Aaron, really liked it. And he said, one day that's going to be on a real car. And well, he's a man of his word, because this year it was on the ARCA car. So it was pretty badass to see that come to life.
We made it happen at Kansas. It was I know for sure because I fueled the car, which was crazy. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
whole new respect for those guys.
It's so awesome to watch, like I said, from a viewer's perspective, to watch how Colton's gone from, like, he's just on an incline in NASCAR, as well as you, Aaron. You're not just sponsoring local races anymore. You were on a car recently out, was it in the Midwest or
Yeah.
Central? So
Yeah, we were on with Ryan Vargas from Mike Harmon Racing. I've been on with Matt several times. Carson Hocevar, we're on with him in the Cup Series every race this year on his helmet. Carson Hocevar's girlfriend Peyton on her late models. On with Matt in the for micro sprints and running dirt at Millbridge. You name it. I mean, we're there.
Overseas with Ryan Vargas was
Overseas with Ryan Vargas in the NASCAR
cool.
Euro Series too. So yeah, forgot about that one. So yeah, it's all over the place.
Matt, you run the dirt midgets at Millbridge?
Yep, I ran the non-wing micros out there. Quite a bit of races this year. Aaron and I had talked about it, and I say, hey, let's do do a minimum of 8 races together, and I ended up kind of just going weekly. It kept on going. We did a lot more than 8. I can't remember how many.
Yeah.
How fast are those? How fast are they? Those little cars.
Man, they're fun. They're little rockets. They're quick. The non-wing ones are a blast, because I mean you're like really up on the wheel and throwing huge slide jobs. I mean, it feels like you're throwing haymakers out there at Millbridge, running from the bottom to the wall, and they're quick. And Millbridge, it's neat because there's such a speed discrepancy between the guys, running the bottom or throwing slide jobs, and then you're quite literally ripping the wall.
Wow.
They have that place where it's progressive banking, and you're running. I mean, your right rear tire up against the fence if you want to be fast, and it is like it feels definitely like the most wild, out of control thing that you do, and but yeah, it is. It's enough to get your attention, though. You don't realize how quick you're going until you do what we did one week, Aaron, when I decided to flip over 4 cars.
Decided to
top of them.
Yeah.
They were all. It was the white flag too. Taking the white flag, the direct in front of me, and Sheldon Creed showed me his onboard footage, but they all just stopped right in front of me, and I had nowhere to go, and I got hit from behind too, and kind of sent in the wreck, and I was tumbling coming in the wreck, and then flipped over 4 of them, and I landed on top of Sheldon Creed's car and kind of nosedived straight into the dirt, and it did not feel good. But he sent me his onboard camera after, and holy cow, it was like terrifying looking, just seeing me come flying in like kamikaze. It was nuts. But either way, that got my attention and made me realize, wow, we're going a little faster around here in these things than you think.
Yep.
Yeah. You say ripping the wall, and I'm just thinking, I'm happy if I can fit my car in my garage with like 6 inches on each side, and you guys are going a lot faster than I am when I'm backing into the garage. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's fun, man. That was one of the most challenging things that I had done. It was fun, I mean, really, I was kind of a rookie in that stuff this year, and it was cool that and I got to do that together. That was something that we got to kind of co-sponsor together. I was to have my had a liquidation business. We're not doing now, but primarily do real estate. But I have my DiBenedetto Properties real estate company, and then we had Williamsburg contracting on the dirt car, and we got to do a lot of races out there with AB Enterprises. So it's Austin Barnhill as the team owner, great friend of mine, and it was it was a lot of fun. I kind of have taken a step back from it first for because it is like definitely more dangerous than I mean, NASCAR, everything racing can be dangerous, but it definitely is. Open wheel racing is dangerous, and I'm always trying to be smart and focus on what pays the bills and focus on the NASCAR side. But it was hard for me to not just keep running through the whole rest of the season. I've taken a little time off here just to focus on finishing out the season strong. But one, it does make you a better driver, but two, I feel like I was just getting comfortable. We finished 3rd one week and 4th one week, and these guys are all like very good. A lot of dirt midget racers that race around the country and all over. These guys are fantastic dirt racers, and I had just kind of gotten the car where I needed it. Dicing it up with the fastest guys out there. We won the trophy dash one week. I mean, we had speed, and there were still little things that we wanted to tweak and to knock a little bit of weight out of the car, because I'm a little heavier guy. So we had a few things to kind of get us where we needed to be, and we were. I feel like I'm in a spot now where I can win, and we'd gotten sort of everything where it needs to be, but I had to painfully just make the decision, like, okay, I've kind of gone over budget first off. It's just because I got addicted to it and just ran a lot of races, so I was definitely doing that and spending good money there. But luckily Austin is really took me well, and he just took great care of me. So I really appreciated the opportunity to drive. But it was very difficult for me to kind of take a temporary step back, just because it's addicting. You want to we're competitors, man.
All right, so I got a good question for the 3 of you. The end of the season's coming to a close, right? We're in the playoffs in all series now. What are the 3 of you, in any order, doesn't matter, the plans for the 2025 season. Like, Aaron, are you going to be on cars? How many do you plan on being on? Matt, from what I've read, there's nothing solid yet, but I don't know if maybe we can get, a little info on that. And Colton, if you plan on going on more cars here with Aaron, or what's the deal with that?
Ooh,
So,
good,
yeah,
good question, Aaron. You want to start us off?
I will. Yeah. So I will say, stay tuned. Matt and I will make an announcement at some point soon, hopefully. But expect to see us together next year. And then hopefully we can drag Colton along with us. I will say, things are in the works. We'll say that, and moving in the right direction. So, Matt, if you want to go next, or
Yeah, I'm always pretty open book, and when people have been asking about 25 plans, we don't have anything announced yet. We're working on, really just kind of working on details, and should have an announcement soon. I would think it, hopefully in the next couple weeks. That's my goal and plan, but yeah, when I joined the Viking Motorsports team and saw their dedication and commitment to the sport, how all in they were, and got a understanding of their future goals, their plan, that 2024 was just really a building and get off the ground year with a focus and emphasis on 25 and beyond. I was really excited to be a part of that. So I haven't planned on going anywhere else, and I told them as long as they want me, and I'm happy to be here, and they love me, and I love driving for them. So we're just working through details and things for next year. But then on the sponsor side, we'll be able to kind of announce all that stuff. And yeah, definitely to echo what Aaron said, just expect to see us together next year, and I think we got some pretty. It'll be some cool looking stuff that we'll be doing together too. So that'll be the fun, some cool looking custom fun stuff. So yeah, we'll definitely be doing more together, man. It's neat to be able to do stuff, with like Aaron and with Colton and things like that, because they've just turned into friends, true like personal friends. And Aaron knows my like stuff with him so different than like a corporate sponsorship type of deal. We've truly become friends, and I love the passion that him and Cole for like you see in the background, of like collecting gear and like being able to take pride and all that stuff. So we've developed a friendship through it all, which is more important to me than anything else. But it's neat that we get to do a lot of cool stuff together.
Yeah, and I am still like, oh, we got a Matt on here. Like, what? It's just the small connections that lead, along the way. And when you said Viking Motorsports, well, I read that this season wasn't supposed to be as long as it has been at Viking. You were only supposed to race for a couple races to start, and then it just kind of was like, all right, we're gonna do this, and you've gone on from that. So when you first started, it was only a couple races.
Yeah, it snowballed super fast. So it started off with just they started the season, and then I think they missed a race or two, or I'm sure the exact details, but then they reached out to me because they knew I wasn't doing anything at the start of this year. So I phone call, and they said, hey, would you like to come and join and maybe run some races for us, and so then after we talked a bit, it was like, hey, let's run let's run 5 and go from there and see if you like us, and make sure it's what you want to do and all that stuff. And I was sitting at home, so I'm like, heck yeah, I'm gonna jump in a car 100%. And so I jumped on board, and really it was kind of unknown after that. It was like, we'll run 5 and see where it goes, and then as we were running, we had a good run, with Aaron at Richmond. Finished up there like in the teens. I can't remember. Was it?
I,
Do you remember where it was?
I think we finished 7th that day, didn't we?
I can't.
Maybe.
I can't
We
remember.
finished good. It was. A
Yeah,
good
we had
the
a
first
good
race
car.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a good car and we were quick and had a good race there. So it was a great start to that relationship together. And then it snowballed into the team being like, hey, we should try and continue this on and build up some points for next year. And after I ran those 5 races, then it was like, all right, man, let's keep it going, and the relationship was just wonderful, and I'm just enjoying it and looking for a home, and then it turned into like, well, let's run, well, let's keep on running and see, and maybe we'll run these races, whatever it was, and then kind of quickly after that, it turned into, hey, we should probably just try and run the whole rest of the season because it would be more beneficial for us because this all came together quick for Dawn and Suzanne. It was like, hey, let's own a team. We really want to be owners. And then it was like, we really want to be all in. And then it was like, we really want to build this for the future and for years to come, and so an important deciding factor was they were like, they want to be owners in the long term, but a realization was like, it'd be more beneficial if we build up points, this year. And then that helps you starting off in Daytona next year, having, being in a decent spot in the points for the start of next year. And it starts you off in a better spot. So that's kind of where it all snowballed into being full-time, finishing out the rest of this year. And then I'm excited for everything we're working on for next year on.
Sorry, Matt. It was in the teens. I was thinking our 8th place finish was at Talladega. So sorry about
Oh
that.
yeah.
Yes, it was 18th at Richmond.
18th at Richmond. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. We had a
Which is
solid-
still good.
solid
First
car.
race back. I mean, first race with a new team was awesome.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. We had a good car. Yeah, it was. Yeah, we had a good solid day, and it's been neat, to get multiple top tens for the team. We're a small team, with only a couple cars. We're we're doing it pretty, definitely efficiently this year, and not spending a ton, just doing, making the most of what we got because. We're, the plans and the focus on the team is 2025 and beyond. So it's been neat to definitely make the most of what we got as we're getting this team really just off the ground and rolling.
So how many races next year, or how many different series, Aaron, do you think that you will be involved with?
It's hard to say. We're still too early in the planning process. I would say, but again, you'll see us. You'll definitely see us.
I'm excited. I know every time I see Williamsburg or Shenco on a car, I'm like, Colton, I need that diecast.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. See, and that's part of my 2025 plans is, I said I'd stop taking orders from people just because I get so behind on stuff, but like I really gonna need to start to back down my orders because I just need. I mean, I still haven't even made myself one of the trucks from last year. It's sitting here halfway done. I've got the body painted and that's it. But no, it's just like what I want to focus on is just kind of this right here with ORL and what you guys are doing. And then obviously Aaron jumping on board here, helping support you guys. It's, to me, it's a big deal. I was running in a lot of different leagues, and so I just want to stay committed to you guys and helping build that championship diecast, and then got some other things up my sleeve that I'm trying to get done for you guys. And then, like I said, whatever Aaron has in store, I'm along for the ride and just be there to make some custom diecast or whatever it might be that he comes up with.
That's right.
Yeah, we're excited to have both you and Aaron here with us, and hopefully we can continue. I know you're doing our championship diecast for our season winner, and like the one that you made for Al and Killenbeck are amazing, just amazing.
They're flawless.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
So Aaron, the next few years, do you see yourself growing, like maybe into the Cup Series, or I know that's
Uh,
probably that's a lot more expensive, but
It's. I was
it's
gonna say it's. Yeah. Get the higher steps you go, the more it costs. So we'll see. I mean, the sky's the limit, I guess. But there are. We've got the couple guys that I want to stick with. Obviously, Matt. And we'll follow him wherever he goes. And just take it kind of year by year. But yeah, I mean, it would be great to see Williamsburg contracting on a cup car running around Richmond or Martinsville or somewhere. But maybe later. Maybe later.
yeah. I wish I had known, when because I've been to Martinsville, I've been to Richmond, but I wish I'd gone before you guys had gotten involved with each other. So I want to get down there because I mean we've only got one racetrack up here. It's
Yep.
Loudon, so
Yep.
I mean and Bromfield's from Atlanta, so he's got Atlanta, and we travel back and forth to each other's places for those races. But I want to get down to Virginia again because the
But
short tracks.
Martinsville is my home track because I am from Roanoke, Virginia. So
Yep. Yep.
Um, so I mean, Colton, you kind of already answered this. Where do you see um, your Shenco diecast here in a few years? I mean, I feel like you're gonna be right there wherever Aaron goes. You're gonna be right there with him. So
Um, that's one thing. I don't say that with a guarantee, and I don't take it for granted at all because what Aaron does is out of the kindness of his heart. So if he wants to say, hey, we gotta back down or whatever, that's fine by me. So I just kind of go with whatever he's got up his sleeve and he wants to, offer. I'm along for the ride. So I really don't know where I see myself, like, because I never, if you would have said 5 years ago that I'd be sitting right here with you all and Matt and Aaron, and I'd be like, y'all are crazy. There ain't no way that's happening. Or if you would just say that our logo would be on a car or a truck, I'd never believe it. So I really don't have a vision. I just want to keep doing what we're doing and just kind of just let the path be created for me, and just go with it. That's one thing. Like, I've always kind of just been a go with the flow type of person, just kind of laid back and um, just try to do the best that I can and support wherever. And that's the thing. Like with you guys, like Aaron's given me so much, like so much, and like I said, I mean, forever in debt with him, like whether he says so or not. But that's why I wanted to get you guys connected to kind of spread that because I might not be able to do exactly what he does, but then I can at least open the door there for Aaron, to jump onto an iRacing thing, which his name gets out there all the time. Like the people when they're seeing the Williamsburg cars that I'm running, they're commenting on the cars, the design, things like that. So it all just kind of comes full circle. And then for me, having you guys just to be here right now and to kind of share that with Aaron and then with Matt and then you guys. Like I just think it's super cool to be able to kind of give back what he's given me a little bit for you guys, if that makes sense.
yeah, it
Definitely
makes
appreciate
perfect sense because I've been bragging since you told me that we were gonna do this. I've been so excited about it, and never would have happened if it weren't for either of you guys. You know what I mean? So definitely appreciate it.
so
Absolutely.
this question is kind of for everyone. I know we've been doing this for a while, and we don't want to keep everybody. We know everybody's busy, but if each one of you had advice, Aaron, maybe in the contracting business, and Colton, if somebody wanted to get into diecast, or Matt, if somebody wanted to get into racing, what would be one good piece of advice you would give somebody that might help them succeed their dreams or their goals?
I would say the biggest thing for me is be willing to take risks. You know, being just willing to take a risk and not afraid to kind of put yourself out there has gotten me a long way. And I think a lot of people are, you know, nervous to take a step in, you know, into doing whatever they want to do, whether it be in racing or, you know, contracting or whatever. You know, just be willing to take a risk and see it through.
I would say on the racing front, my best life advice for sure that I have learned the hard way is to let God guide the path and lean into your relationship with Him first. That is always first and foremost most important. When I try and go my own way on my own path, it doesn't work as good. So let Him guide the path for whatever, you know, the steps are. And you know, when you put your mind to something and you have that passion in your heart, it's for a reason. But in racing, as a driver, important things are obviously our sport. I think you got to decide: do I want to try and be a professional, you know, race car driver, or do I want to race for fun? Because those are two completely different avenues. And honestly, there's racing for fun is really fun. Like when I go to the dirt track and race, it's like some of the most fun that you have, and it's so fulfilling. So I would encourage people to, you know, not be ashamed of that if they go and they just enjoy racing for fun and some of the best memories and things. And I would say, you know, making sure I see a lot of people that do it that maybe don't have the means to do it or the funding to do it. And as much as it, you know, does stink and you want to see everybody have the opportunity, that's why I honest to God, I'm thankful for iRacing, because it really does give people the opportunity to compete. You know, have the money to go out here and be buying. I mean, it's expensive, you know, to be running a dirt car, even if it's just a dirt micro, a mill bridge. I mean, that stuff, these cars are very expensive and super nice. So I would encourage people, you know, to like, you know, that's why iRacing has been a gift to a lot of people to allow them to compete where you just need a computer and a wheel, you know, versus the car that where the damages are real and the expenses are real. So if you're wanting to race for fun, I would say definitely, you know, plan that budget accordingly and tack on extra on top of it, because racing is just and it's a sport and it's different than, you know, football or baseball, where, you know, the equipment needed is, you know, much more reasonable. So I would say, you know, planning your costs, planning those things out, be just like being smart with your finances and all in general in life. That is important. And then if you're trying to do it professionally, you know, if you really like, you know, you have that gift and you stand out like supremely over, you know, over a lot of people, or you're like a Kyle Larson or a Ross Chastain or a Carson Hocevar, or, you know, these guys that have that, you know, very standout talent. You know, you really want to make sure that you do have the funding and the means to get you there and to get you the right opportunities, and make sure you're putting yourself in the right equipment, because it can be definitely harmful to not be in the right stuff, you know. And our sport does require some funds, and that's why we couldn't do it without, you know, our sponsor. That's why we're, you know, I am super grateful for the guys like Aaron and everything Colton's doing, and every sponsor that in the sport, every partner that I have, because I couldn't drive in circles without any of them.
Yeah, and for me, you know, I really would echo both of what they just said, but you know, for me, it's, you know, when you get started, um, it's tough, you know, it's tough. So don't let the failures be setbacks. You know, one thing I've always learned in life, and one thing that I always live by, is like, if you've got a negative situation, or like a negative that happens with your diecast, you know, but just in general in life, my thing is find the positive out of the negative, and build on it. So whatever you can do, just in life, you know, just keep on building. And like Aaron said, don't be afraid to take a risk on yourself, and as you progress through things, just stay humble, stay thankful, and remember, count your blessings, know who got you where you're at, and what got you to where you're at. And always be thankful for those things. And, like I said, just stay humble and like Matt said, I thank God every day for giving me Aaron and just what we've been able to accomplish, because I've got 3 little boys, and it gives them something to look forward to. So just little things like that. Just like I said, just staying humble and learning from your mistakes, and don't ever give up.
Yeah. Um, I did have one question for you, Matt. We do the iRacing, and we get frustrated sometimes. Get taken out by other drivers, and I know it happens in the higher levels. So, how do you unwind after a stressful race?
Hold on, I got to ask with that question, Matt. Saturday, we saw what happened Saturday. I'm just curious. I was reading a little bit of stuff online. I'm just curious of what your thoughts was Saturday in that last lap and Jesse Love's move as well. I have to ask.
Yeah, we were we had as far as sway bar arm came off, we just from hitting curbs, it's so hard on stuff, so we were kind of limping along, just trying to get us a 17th or 18th place finish, and get us a top 20 and finish out the day okay. But it on the white flag, I wasn't able to. I wasn't able to maximize my braking zones and things, just because of the that issue. But we Jesse Love was behind me, and we were going into the backstretch chicane on the last lap, and really, I'm just trying to just make it around and just be smart and just cruise her home to the finish. And if we lost that one more spot, it wasn't a big deal. But I didn't realize the points situation that he was in, that he was right there at the cut line. I mean, it was close, and they had communicated to him that they thought that he was going to need that one more spot to make it in. It's hard to tell when it's all happening quick. So they had communicated that on the radio, and I was the unlucky recipient. That was that spot that he actually didn't end up needing, but they thought that he did at the time. And Danny Stockman, his crew chief, is a great friend of mine. They're great people, and so I didn't really know the situation, and all I know is I'm going into the backstretch chicane, and I just get launched, and I mean, all but wreck is a miracle. I saved it. I almost piled it in the wall, and I just got shipped completely. And then he went by, and I went from wherever we were to back to 22nd. We finished 22nd. I was like, oh man, I was bummed. I was so like fuming, man. And then I got out of the race car, and I did run into him after the race, and I just was like blazing mad. And then I got out, and I learned, and I understood what happened, and I was like, oh, okay. I saw the cut line, and that he just barely made it in, and then I had a better understanding of what it was, and he actually called me today, and his crew chief Danny is a good dude, and I know Jesse. I've watched him for a long time, and he actually he races very smart and wise beyond his years, and he's not really known as that kind of like reckless driver who wrecks everybody like a weapon type guy. Like, so it's not him at all. So after I got the full scope and understanding of what was actually going on, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. I can't really fault him if you're the championship's on the line and you need a spot, man. And I was just that unlucky recipient, so he didn't really do anything wrong. It stinks. I know he didn't want to have to do that either.
Yeah, I know we get a lot of people. Sometimes we'll get fuming, and it's like, guys, you got to give it 24 hours, cool down, and
Cool
then
down.
then approach it.
Yeah, and I think to really better answer the question, I think now that I'm not that I'm old, but at 33 versus in my 20s, I process things probably with a lot more perspective. My faith has definitely my walk with the Lord has definitely grounded me a lot, to where my highs are less high and my lows are less low, and I kind of just walk with a little more perspective. Not that we don't get fiery, fuming mad because we're competitors, but I think I can give things a little more time if something happens or we have a bad race or a wreck or we break or have a failure or something that just it still fires you up and makes you so angry. I think I just kind of stay quiet and stay a little calmer and let it simmer and give it a day and try and the more I can stay plugged into an eternal mindset throughout the temporary world. It may sound silly, but it really affects it allows me to carry a little more peace and walk with more of a 30,000 foot view over life and over racing and looking at everything as temporary. And that kind of helps to keep me a little calm, because as racers and competitors, we can be very guilty of bringing that anger home and then bringing it, just letting it ruin your week and everything. And I try to, mitigate that a little bit more in more recent years.
All right. Well, we don't want to keep you any longer. We know you're a busy person. I don't have any more questions to ask. Brum, are you?
I'm good. We want to thank y'all for coming out and being on the podcast. Obviously, definitely want to thank Williamsburg Contracting and Shenco for helping sponsor our league. It does go a long way with us. It's a lot of fun for us to do the iRacing every Sunday, and who knows, maybe one day we can have a race where everybody jumps in and be kind of fun. But thank y'all for your support, and thank you, Matt, for coming out to our podcast. And that's all I got, Anthony. What you got?
I've got a challenge for you, though, Brum. Say
Oh,
Matt's
boy.
last name.
Oh, man.
Let's hear it.
DiBenedetto. Is that right?
Close. It's DiBenedetto.
DiBenedetto.
Yep.
He was struggling on that all
I
week.
told him,
man.
I
Just
was
had to
like,
get-
please don't ask me to say his last name because I'll get it wrong.
I love it.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. We're going to play our outro video, and we'll catch you on the track Sunday, Colton.
Yep, sounds good. We'll see you guys. Thank you all.
All right. Thanks,
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you, man.